We feel violated. I feel violated. These people just showed up at my house.
Ultimately, he said that he was just doing his job, and
he showed up at our house with 3 trucks full of men, one of them with a great big boom on it, and our sheriff. He demanded that we either sign the paper accepting the smart meter that we know harms our children, or he was going to terminate our power.
Over 3 weeks without power. I'm Judson Keen, and this is my wife, Christy Keen, and we have 7 children.
Meet the Keen family.
Well, when we started, we were in a camper while we built our own home. We had 7 children and ourselves in a 40-foot camper. We've built our own home with our own hands. And now we've grown our farm to 4 milking cows. My girls milk 4 cows a day. And we do everything organically. We live off the land as much as possible. We have approximately 15 meat cows that we grow for ourselves. And also for our community, we have chickens for eggs and hogs. We raise grassland or woodland hogs, American guinea hogs. The children are up early every morning. We all are. We start chores at daybreak. We work hard. We have gardens and raise vegetables, and we live peaceably among our neighbors.
And we moved here about 10 years ago from Florida to homestead and to create our own little slice of heaven here on earth. And we have been doing so great with our community and friends in the area for the last 10 years until recently.
4 weeks ago, they had their power cut off by their electric company, Meriwether-Lewis Electric Co-op.
We had no issues until Meriwether-Lewis decided that our electric cooperative, said that we had to upgrade to a smart meter. Recently, my wife noticed they were putting up a smart meter on our neighbor's pole and went over to tell the gentleman that we did not want a smart meter because my wife and my children are very electrically sensitive. They have what's called as EHS, electro hypersensitivity, and
which is a common condition nowadays in our heightened community where there's so much RF. It's a pollution. Our bodies absorb it. Our bodies don't do well with it.
You may ask, what are the issues with these RF smart meters? Well, some studies suggest that the radiation emitted by these meters could have potential negative side effects, although an equal number of studies show them to be safe.
Radiation affects everyone in the population, whether they realize it or not. Over time, they will have unexplained illnesses, and if you look back at the symptoms, they will mirror and mimic exactly what radiation sickness is.
When we asked them not to install a smart meter at our house, I was told by the installers that were from another county that there was no option, that they would either give us the smart meter or terminate our power. We had a meeting with Junior Breeden, who's the District 4 manager for our region. We went to his office, all 9 of us, and he was politely told us that there were, again, no options. We could have the smart meter or he would terminate our power.
And that's just what they did. 4 weeks ago, Meriwether-Lewis Electric Co-op decided to flex their muscles, leaving this family of 9 with no power.
Ultimately, he said that he was just doing his job, and
he showed up at our house with 3 trucks full of men, one of them with a great big boom on it, and our sheriff. He demanded that we either sign the paper accepting the smart meter that we know harms our children, or he was going to terminate our power. At that moment, I was in an apron, and I was processing 10 gallons of blueberries that we had just picked ourselves. When he showed up, I told him that we couldn't morally sign that paper because we know that RF is going to hurt our children. And he said that then he would just terminate our power. I asked him to please leave our property. He did so. He drove across our creek and terminated our power from the other side of our creek.
The situation makes the family feel as though they're being bullied by a monopoly.
I actually brought that up to Junior Breeden. I told him, I said, what other option do we have? Is there another power company that can supply us power? No. So you are a monopoly. You are the only one.
Yep.
Yep.
And not only do we feel threatened, we feel violated. I feel violated. These people just showed up at my house totally unannounced. They did not call. They didn't set up an appointment. When we went to go visit Junior Breeden, we set up an appointment. He knew we were coming. They showed up at our house in the middle of the day and took something from us that it's very violating.
Perhaps more concerning is the data collection aspect of smart meters.
You can look it up online yourself. There's plenty of information out there about it, but there's a government report that was issued in 2017 that states the privacy concerns and the violation against the amendment, the Fourth Amendment. They build a profile about every person. They actually can discern what appliances come on at what time. They actually also have a Zigbee or Z-Wave transmitter that communicates with your smart devices in your home. And therefore, they know exactly what's going on in your house, even down to what your sexuality is and what your sexual life is.
The frequently asked questions section of their website says that these meters have no way of interpreting things such as which devices you're using. However, it is suspected that the information it collects could be analyzed by a third party using computer algorithms and interpreted to invade your privacy that way. Information collected and sold by Meriwether Lewis complies with all state and federal privacy laws, according to their website. It's our understanding that this means that all data has had the identifiable information, like names and addresses, stripped from it before it is sold. Nonetheless, the information is still collected. When asked how much they earn annually off of the data from RF smart meters, Meriwether Lewis had not responded at the time of this production.
Over 3 weeks without power. The cost of gas for a generator is extremely expensive. We go through about $50 of gas a day. We try to limit that as much as possible. We actually only turn on the generator
On a schedule.
on a schedule. 3 hours in the morning, at 6 we get up, the generator goes on, at 9 it goes off, it comes back on around 1 o'clock, goes off at 4 o'clock, and then comes...
2 to 4.
Is it 2 to 4?
Mm-hmm.
2 to 4, and then again, it comes on in the evening.
We know exactly how long, through trial and error, how long we have to have it on to keep our 4 freezers full of meat from thawing out. We've lost an entire freezer full of food. We have 2 refrigerators, 4 freezers, because we are a farm. We do have food for ourselves and our community, and that food is rapidly spoiling.
31 acres, 7 children, and a home they built themselves. They have cattle, geese, and even hogs, and are entirely self-sufficient.
Junior Breeden told us that he was just doing his job. He did not understand necessarily all of the evidence that we were presenting to him, because we took articles and of how smart meters catch buildings on fire, so they are a huge fire hazard. We sent articles in cases where I think it was the Ninth District Court that actually said that they are in violation of our privacy and against Amendment 4 of the United States Constitution. And we also...
dozens and dozens of scientific papers talking about RF frequencies and how damaging they are, especially to children, of whom we have 7.
When asked if they had any plans to take the smart meter, their answer was a firm no.
No, we have no plans to accept the smart meter. All we wanted, and we told Junior Breeden this, we want power, but we want it safely in an analog meter. That's all we're asking for. No different from other Americans and other Tennesseans that already have this option. That's all we're asking for.
In the meantime, the family is hoping that their community will help them push for an analog option by contacting the electric co-op or by helping pass opt-out legislation in the next General Assembly.
Other counties nearby do give analog meters out. Other electric companies in the area.
An hour away from here, we have several friends who have analog meters because they requested them. My own parents back in Florida didn't even realize they had a smart meter on their house until this whole situation came up with us. And when they found out they had a smart meter, they called their electric company and asked for an analog, and the very next day they received one. Why is Meriwether Lewis abusing their power? Why are they treating the residents like this? It's not necessary. It's uncalled for.
Until then, they're going to continue to raise their family with or without power.
We will not accept. We cannot accept. Morally, we cannot accept, as Christy has said, we can't harm our children. We cannot continue to acquiesce through these tacit agreements to eroding our liberties, eroding our freedom. We have to draw a line in the sand and say no more. This is how we're going to do it peaceably. We have to do it by making the hard choices now. There's a song by Aaron Tippin years ago. I played it for my family. It really strikes a chord because it fits this situation perfectly. It is called "You Have to Stand for Something or You'll Fall for Anything." Our children need to see us stand for them, or else there's not going to be an opportunity for them to stand for their children. This country will not exist if good men don't stop what they're doing and make a stand now. So I encourage you, men out there, and fathers, make a stand. Draw the line in the sand and say no more. This is where you stop. You cannot trample our rights any further. And this country will change.
We moved to Tennessee because we wanted to be free. Tennesseans are known for standing up, for being strong. Across the rest of the country, Tennesseans are believed to stand up against abuse. And, we're coming from Florida. We just want to live peacefully with our neighbors. We want to be able to make decisions for our own selves. We don't want to be told what to do.
You can follow the Keen story on social media.
Well, my wife runs a Telegram channel called Live Local Middle Tennessee.
It's just a small group.
It's just a small group, but she has been chronicling it on that. So that would probably be the easiest place to find out what's happened and what's going on.
It's called Live Local Middle Tennessee, and it's on Telegram. We didn't understand either. It's just like anything else. Until it's your experience, it's difficult to understand what other people go through. But for myself personally, since we've removed ourselves from radio frequencies, we no longer use cell phones. We don't have cell phones in our home. We don't use Bluetooth. We don't use Wi-Fi. We don't have boosters. We don't do any of it. Everything that we have is wired. And all I can say is that our bodies are so much happier. Well, when we moved here, we were just like everybody else. We had Wi-Fi, 2 cell phones, Bluetooth, we had a booster, everything. We had it all. And for years. And then now we don't even use so much of this as a cell phone. We know when we have issues, that we have issues with RF. We're not imposing that on others. We just want to be free and have the choice. Everyone deserves, this is America.